Hello and welcome once again to our virtual classroom. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be going over the review for the exam, for the Unit 5 exam, which has everything to do with geometric shapes. We're talking about triangles, parallelograms, trapezoids. I believe we're going to look into the volume of a cube and the volume of a rectangle a little bit as well. And so with that in mind, let's go straight into this. Let's go straight into number 1. I encourage you to show your work on your notebook, and to pause the video, maybe try it on your own, and then follow through with the explanation. I am going to move fairly quickly through this, so feel free to rewind and watch things again. All right, in triangle DEF, the measure of angle DFE is 12.4 degrees, and I should say, and the measure of angle DEF is 92.1. What is the measure of angle EDF in degrees? What does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? When you see notation like this, where it says triangle DEF or something like that, all of what that is saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you had a triangle, something like this, let's just suppose that it was something like that. Actually, let me redo that. If you had a triangle like this, it doesn't matter, and if it was named D, E, F, that's just what it means. It's triangle DEF, triangle DEF. And now when it's naming the angles, for example, where it says DEF, okay, so DFE, DFE, so F is the one in the middle, so this is the angle that it's talking about. I'm not saying this is drawn to scale, but that would be 12.4 degrees from here to here. Now, if it says DEF, so I'm going from DEF, so E is in the middle, so DEF, so they're saying that would be 92.1 degrees. That's what they mean. So don't be so confused by that. And even if you didn't draw it, you know that this is a triangle, and they give you 2 of the angles, and you're missing a third angle. You're missing a third angle, which is EDF, this one up here. So we want to know what that angle is. And all you need to remember, ladies and gentlemen, is that the measure of the angles in a triangle has to add up to 180. So when you add up all 3 angles together, they should be 180. So we're missing one of them, right? So let's add up what we have and then subtract that from 180. So we have 92.1 plus 12.4. Notice how I lined up the decimals. I lined up the numbers with their place value. 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 plus 2 is 4. 9 plus 1 is 10. So we have 104.5. So those are the angles that I have. I'm missing a third angle. So let me see what that third angle missing is by subtracting what I have from 180. 104.5. Notice how I have lined up the decimal. So I cannot take 5 from 0. So I'm going to borrow. I'm going to borrow again, so this is going to become a 10. Borrow again, that becomes a 9. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 4 is 0 minus 7 is 7. And that becomes 75.5. If you don't believe me, I'm just going to double check really quickly with a calculator. So again, we have 12.4. plus 92.1, and of course that's 104.5, and so I do 180 minus 104.5, and yes, so my answer is 75.5. Now in the review, obviously it doesn't matter in the test, you won't have access to a calculator. All right, so that would be the answer to that, 75.5. All right, let's move a little faster through the rest of these. 75.5. Moving on. Tony drew a triangle below. Which measure cannot be the measure of angle A or angle B? Ladies and gentlemen, remember that this little square here means that this is a right angle, And that means that this is 90 degrees. Remember, between these two, they have to fit into 180. In other words, well, for example, 180 minus 90, the angle that I already have is 90. That means that between these 2 degrees, I have to have 90 degrees, okay? I can't have more. So for example, here, If this is 30, this would be 60. Okay, if this was 45, this would be 45. If this was 60, this would be 60. But if this was 90, firstly, it doesn't look like a 90-degree angle, but already that is 180 degrees. Then it wouldn't leave anything left for this other angle over here. You see how if I made B any of these other angles, I would have enough to make this, to still make another angle over here, but none of these could be 90. It just cannot be 90. All right, I already have a 90-degree angle up here. If I add another 90-degree angle, that's already 180. I don't have enough to make another angle, okay? Because remember, I can only have 180 degrees within a triangle, so the answer would be A. All right, moving on. There you go. The side lengths of 4 figures are given in the table, which is not a triangle. We didn't really cover this, ladies and gentlemen, but when you have a triangle, you're always going to have a longer side. Okay, you're always going to have a longer side, right? But the shorter sides, if you think about it, those sides, if I were to add those together, they have to be longer than the longest side. All right. If they were not longer than the longest side, if they were together, then it wouldn't even make a triangle. They wouldn't be long enough to make a triangle, right? So again, the longest side must be shorter or less than the other 2 sides. So if this was 7, this could be 3 and 5 or something, because 2 plus 5 is 8. That's bigger than 7. If this was 7 and this was 3 and 2, notice how 3 plus 2 is 5. That's not long enough to even meet this longest side. Okay, so let's see here. So which one is not a triangle? So here the longest side is 5. So 3 plus 4 is 7. So that is longer than the longest side. So that can be a triangle. This one we have 3.25, 3.25, and 2.5. This can be a triangle. Because just take one of the longest sides at the other 2. It's an isosceles triangle. All right, moving on. 28, okay, 16 plus 9 is 25, ladies and gentlemen. So that's not long enough. So it seems like my answer is C. Yep, 10 plus 10 plus 10, that's an equilateral triangle. So GHI cannot make a triangle. That's what that means. All right, moving on. Again, the angle measures for 4 given figures are given in the table, which is not a triangle. Which of those is not a triangle? So same thing, they have to measure up to 180. They have to measure up to 180. So here, 30, 60, and 90, that is 180. So so this one is a triangle. So that's not the one I'm looking for. 75 plus 25, that's 100 plus 80 is 180. So again, so DEF is a triangle. Those are not the answers. GHI, 50, 38, 112. Let's add those together. 112 plus 38, 8, 9, 10, 3, 4, 5, 150 plus 50, ladies and gentlemen, that is 200. So that one doesn't seem to be a triangle. I believe that's going to be my answer. Let's just do this other one real quick. 83 plus 32 is going to be 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 115 plus 65, ladies and gentlemen, that is 180. The answer is C. That's the only one that is not 180 degrees, right? So that's the answer. Okay, the measure of angle A, so this one right here, the measure of angle A, is 72 degrees. So this right here, from here to here, that is 72 degrees. Then what is the measure of angle B? Ladies and gentlemen, notice how these lines tell me that this is on an isosceles triangle. That means that these sides, side AC or CA is the same as CB, meaning that angle A and angle B are exactly the same. So angle B has to be 72 degrees. And I realize I'm moving kind of quickly through this, but yeah, this is just a review. It's just a review. If you don't understand it, rewind it. Hopefully that makes sense. Look for lines like these in a triangle. That's telling you that those sides are equal. Look for angles that have the same symbol on them. That means that those are equal. Okay, here we go. Find the area. Remember, area is for 2-dimensional figures. We want to see what is inside of the shaded region. So we want to see this right here. Now we have a triangle right here. And remember, for the area for a triangle is going to be area is equal to 1 half base times height. Or what I like to use is area is equal to multiply the base times the height and then divide it by 2. So let's use this one over here. So my area is going to be whatever the base. So the base of this shaded region is going to be from here to here, which is not 8. It is not 8. I have to take away this because the whole thing is 8. And I take away this small portion right here, which is 3. So 8 minus 3, making this 5. All right, so that's my base, 5, times the height, which is also 5. And then divide it by 2. That's it. You always divide whatever the product of the base and height is, divided by 2. All right, so 5 times 5 is 25. 25 divided by 2 is equal to 12.5. So ladies and gentlemen, my answer is 12.5 square meters, which makes the answer B. B would be your answer. Technically, I could also treat this like a trapezoid. This would be base 1, base 2, and the height is 5, but you would get the same answer, but that's obviously more complicated. Actually, no, don't do that because you're trying to get it solved. All right, moving on. So that would be B. Number 7, volume of a rectangular prism. Again, start off with the formula. Volume is equal to the length times the width times the height. So the volume is going to be the length, which I have 3, times the width, which is 1.5. Notice how this is 1.5. So be careful with those. Times the height, which is 2. Now, because this is multiplication, the order doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. So my volume is going to be, I'm going to do 1.5 times 2, which is 3. So that's going to be 3 times 3. So my volume, ladies and gentlemen, is 9 inches cubed. 9 inches cubed, and the answer would be C. C, there you go. So yes, length times width times height. I'm multiplying all 3 dimensions, ladies and gentlemen. How long it is times how wide it is times how high it is. And it doesn't matter. You could also have done this other face first. I'm doing the base, 3 times 1.5. That's the bottom base. That's the bottom base. And then multiplying that times the height. I could have also done this side base, which is 2 times 1.5, which would be 3, and then multiplying that times 3. All right, moving on to the next one, ladies and gentlemen. The area of the figure below. So area is a 2-dimensional shape. Notice that this is a parallelogram. It is not a rhombus. If it was a rhombus, all sides would be the same, but it doesn't matter because the area of any parallelogram, whether it be a square, a rectangle, a rhombus, or just a parallelogram, is always going to be base times height. Base times height. All right, so the base is 9 and the height is 4. That's it. If they had given me this as a base, I would need to know what the shortest distance is from here. Remember that the height is always perpendicular to the base. All right, so 9 times 4 is 32. 36. So my area is equal to 9 times 4, which is equal to 36. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be my answer, 36. Which is C. Moving on, question 9, we have a trapezoid. And for a trapezoid, again, if you don't know the area formula, you're going to get stuck. It is on your mathematics chart. We're going to have base 1, so plus base 2, which just means at the bases. And at some point, you're going to divide that by 2 and multiply by the height. So you can either at the basis multiply by the height and divide by 2, or at the basis divide by 2 and then multiply by the height. It's not going to matter. So my area is going to be base 1 plus base 2. So write it into the formula. So 9 plus 6, 9 plus 6. And then I'm going to eventually divide by 2 and then multiply by the height, which is 4. All right. So area is going to be 15, because 9 plus 6 is 15, times 4 divided by 9. So why don't we do this? 15 times 4 is equal to 60. 60, I believe. Yes. And then 60 divided by, oops, the height. I am totally getting this wrong. Some of you guys may have noticed that already. This should be divided by 2. There you go. So then 60 divided by 2 would be 30. So again, I added the basis, which is 15. Then I multiply it by the height, which is 4. So that gave me 60. And then divide that by 2, that would be 30. So the area would be 30. So the answer would be C. Notice, guys, I am using the formula. Always begin with the formula. And then just follow the order of operations as we're doing that. Awesome. All right. Let's do a couple more. So number 10 is the area of a parallelogram. So just do base times height. You can figure that out on your own. Number 11 is a little bit harder. Number 11 and 12 are a little bit harder. So for those, I'll probably make a separate video just because I want to go into more detail, and this video is getting a little bit longer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found that helpful, and I will see you soon.